Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in right here to Fantasy Life with Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you for the next 2 hours on this Thursday morning, Adam. It's a great day. We are 7 days away from the start of the NFL season. It's a big draft weekend. Everyone knows that. I've got a ton of people saying that they're drafting this weekend. Got a Beat Kendall Valenzuela league today that is sold out. I'm sorry. I saw some messages this morning. It's a great day though, Adam. How you doing?
Yeah, it is. Glad to see you finally get involved in that league. I like that format in the
I'm excited.
FFWC. I've been playing in it for years. I am likely getting one more beat Adam
Are
Ronis league
you?
there too. Yeah, working on that
You've got
now.
to stop. We
Why?
do this every year. We
I
say,
know.
"Oh, we gotta scale back," and then it's the last week of the weekend of no football, and we say, "Oh, it's one more. What's one more?" And
Yeah, and
then,
I always wind up drafting the weekend after the Thursday and Friday games. I'm hoping not to
oh,
this
do
year,
you?
but yeah, I last year I drafted that Saturday.
Huh? And you get like a first look, and you get to draft those players. Oh my
Yeah, you
gosh,
can, which
nice.
does make it interesting because if you remember last year,
That's what I was
Isaiah
gonna ask
likely
you.
had a big
Yeah.
week one. He was going like in the second, third round. It's
Mm.
insane how these players move up. And also he was going for like $200-300 on Fab. So yeah, people do overreact to what they see in the first two games. Now it's two. Last year was the first time we had the Thursday, Friday, have the Thursday, Friday again, but yeah, it's you get that itch. You start drafting, and then you also go, well, I don't really have any of this guy, so maybe I should do one more draft to get him. Like I said, I have not had a draft with the number one pick yet.
Yeah. So you're gonna just continue drafting until you get
No,
there?
no, no.
Could be
I
fun.
can't do
I said,
that. Because
why
what's gonna
not?
happen is those Tuesday and Wednesday nights for
Oh,
the waiver
those are
wire
brutal.
are insane.
Well, it's waiver wire, and then I
Setting
forgot
lineups on Sunday.
setting lineups. I forgot how many guillotine leagues I have added to my rosters, and so that's a whole other process where I'm like,
Though,
oh,
but the positive thing about that, doesn't the waiver wire run like 3 p.m. Eastern?
ooh, I can't
I
remember.
thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was
3 p.m.
afternoon,
Yeah, it
if
is.
I'm
It
not
is in the
mistaken.
afternoon.
Yeah, so that helps
That's
at least so
correct.
you can get that
I
done
don't know.
first.
Sometimes I forgot about it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
Put you got to put the reminders in your
I
calendar
know.
or
I
write it
know.
down. Some people are not I like to
I
write
like to
things
live on
down.
the edge. I like to be like, well,
Yeah.
I hope I remembered everything because we have so many leagues. Hope I remembered everything. But yeah, we're 7 days away from watching your Dallas Cowboys go up against the Eagles. What's the line on that?
Last I
Pretty
saw was
close?
7. No, it's
Okay.
like one of the biggest line. There's no digit lines for week one. There's so many tight lines, but
There's
okay,
good
six
games.
six and a half. But
That's not bad.
I mean, Micah Parsons at this point doesn't look like he's going to
What is
play.
what is going on there? And then we heard rumors that the Packers, I mean, this was just rumors, but like the Packers are saying that they, not the organization, but we heard rumors that the Packers wanted to get involved and trade for Parsons. I mean, you're really going to start the season without him, huh?
I didn't think that would be the case because the one thing I will say is Dallas always winds up paying their players. So this is surprising that it's still not done. But I guess Jerry Jones was too busy with the documentary America's Team. So,
You said you liked it though. You said it was a good
well, for
documentary.
me, well, look, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're going to love it because there's a lot of memories of the 90s when they were such a dominant team. But it also brought up some negative feelings because they should have never let Jimmy Johnson go. Because if
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson stayed as coach, the Cowboys would have won 4 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but yeah, I was reading all the Micah Parsons stuff. Hopefully maybe they just, want to take it down to the wire. They got 7 days, really 6
Yeah,
days
great.
left.
And
Why
okay,
not?
so even if they do, he's not going to be able to be a full time player in that game. He hasn't been practicing.
Yeah.
And then there
Well,
was the
I'm just trying to be
MRI
positive.
on his back that came up good.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not good. It's not good, Adam. But
There's
the
never
vibes,
good
we can
vibes
make
with Dallas
we can
anymore.
make the vibes good on the show. We can make up for it,
Yes,
Good
that's
thing, and like you
fantasy
always say,
football.
good thing you got fantasy football and betting. So
Yes.
that'll save you. That'll save you this season, and it'll be great. Like I said, we're always so excited for you guys to join us here on this Thursday. Hopefully you guys are having a great start to your day. Make sure you head over to fantasylife.com. We've got great articles coming out every single week, but this week especially to get you ready for those last minute drafts that you might have for any of those lineup questions as well. Draft strategies, all at fantasylife.com. Use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 fantasy life subscription. Let's start with the news, Adam. The news that we were talking about to end the show yesterday, and then I feel like maybe 30 minutes later,
Yeah.
an hour later, we had the official confirmation that Rashee Rice will be suspended for the first 6 games of the season. When I first read everything, this feels like the best case scenario for fantasy football managers and probably for Rashee Rice and the Chiefs as well. So he is going to and has accepted the 6 game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Will serve the suspension at the beginning of the season. And this again, Adam, I think it's good. We now have clarity on what the suspension is going to be. There were thoughts that it was going to be, the September 30th meeting in New York, and then maybe that was going to be pushed a little bit. We just really didn't have any clarity on when the suspension could be. A mid-season suspension was going to be the worst case scenario. Now we have 6 games at the beginning. Don't have to worry too much about injuries yet. Don't have to worry about bye weeks. So overall, feels like, a good spot to be drafting Rashee Rice still in the fifth, sixth round is where he's going.
Yeah, I think it comes down to your format and how many bench spots do you have, what's your starting lineup. It's much easier to take him in a league with 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex because you get into your bench spots quicker in the draft. So in that format, I'm going to be more aggressive. Now, if you're in a deep format, and we've talked about a lot, 3 receivers, 2 flex spots, it's a little bit more challenging because when you're taking your fifth, sixth round pick, you're counting on that player to contribute in a big way. At the same time, you understand that there's a chance that Rice turns into a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 when he comes back. Now, some people might say, well, Xavier Worthy's going to get his opportunity to establish himself, and he's going to be the guy, and Rice will just come into a situation where the offense is already flowing. But we've seen Mahomes really connect with Rice. Yes, it was only 3 games last year, but it does help Worthy and Kelsey early on. So I'm willing to draft Rice. It really just depends on what the format is and where I am in the draft. But it is going to be a little bit of a challenge. So like I said, I took Rice 5-4 in a FFWC league. That's 3 receivers, 2 flex. So as my fourth receiver. So looking at it now, I could plug in someone like
That's
it
not
could be
bad.
yeah, it's not that
Yeah.
bad. Again, 6 games is a lot. They have a bye in week 10. Does he start slow when he comes back? Those are things to factor in. It really is. If your roster gets hit with a lot of injuries, it's going to be a problem, right?
Mhm.
People will look back and be like, well, that's your fault. Why'd you draft Rice? Now, if everything breaks right and he comes back and plays a big role and you have a good team, then it's like picking up a huge addition off the waiver wire without spending fab. So there's going to be people who are conservative will not draft Rice because there will always be someone in your league who takes him fifth, sixth round. So I'm in the middle on Rice. Like I feel like I will maybe get him in a league. So like I had an opportunity to take him last night. I passed.
Okay. I,
So
I'm the same way. If it fits my builds, but usually, Adam, if we're doing 2 or 3 flex spots, oh man, I might get a little bit too nervous to do
I
it.
think you won't do it. It's
I
it's
don't think I'll do
tough.
it
It
either.
really
It
is tough
is.
because once the injuries strike, you're gonna be like, oh, why'd I do this?
I took him earlier in the season, earlier in the season, as a just in case, but it only was a couple of times. And even then, like you said, if it fits your build, if you have, I think I have one league actually though, and it's that ESPN league that drafts on Monday. That might be the place. Hopefully my league mates aren't listening. That might be the place that I say, okay, I can take him because again, it's the one flex spot, 2 receivers, 2 running backs,
Yeah, see,
one
I would
quarterback, one tight
definitely
end.
take him there. And I wouldn't even
Yes.
be opposed to do it in the fifth round because
Mhm.
especially you're gonna get good players after that you can plug in. So I'd be aggressive in that type of format because you have the ability to wait. I mean, that's 2 less starters than a 3 receiver, 2 flex league. And again, there's not lot of leagues that do that. And there's probably a lot of people listening playing with 3 receivers, 1 flex. I think even there, it's a little bit easier to do. He went 5-7 last night in my NFFC online championship draft
Yeah, I mean, it sounds about right.
as the
And
fourth receiver for that team. And that's 1 flex spot. I think
yeah,
that's not bad. No, that's not bad.
it's not. Who was their other? Do you have their draft
Yeah,
up?
so
Who
they
was their next
started
receiver that they took?
Gibbs, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, and Rice, and then took
Oh,
Golden
okay.
in round 7.
No, that's
So
not bad.
yeah, you put Golden in there in the
Mhm.
flex. They have their 2 running backs, quarterback, tight end. Oh, they have a Kansas City stack too: Mahomes, Kelsey, and Rice.
Wow, they sure do. I just, it's a thing where I understand. And again, it just depends on your build. For me, I could see myself probably not taking him as much over this last weekend of drafts, but it just depends on how you're building because I understand, Adam. People could look at Rashee Rice and say, this guy could be a league winner down the stretch because there is that possibility. What we saw last season, I know, small sample size of games, and you have to be careful because he is recovering coming off that LCL injury that he suffered week 4. But I mean, he looked dominant. He looked good, like you said. I had how many? So 26 in the first 3 weeks of last season, he scored 21.6 PPR points per game on average. And it was just one of those marks that was like, okay, here we go. Let's get going. We felt the same way about Chris Godwin. Then he went down. He was on pace for a good season. And so it's understandable to me why people could believe and say, hey, I want to get him. I want to stash him and just wait it out because, come back mid-season, then he's really probably at 100% by, obviously, by the playoffs, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, there could be a lot of good outs with Rashee Rice, even with 6 games.
Yeah, because I think if he had no suspension, you'd probably rank him as a back end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2. At least for
Yep.
me. Maybe you
Hmm.
disagree, but that's where I would rank him. So you're getting that type of player for when he comes back in week 7. Now, again, the first few weeks could be tough since he is coming off the injury. He looks good now. I'm not worried about the injury. There's a difference when a guy isn't participating, isn't practicing coming off an injury. He's been on the field. There's been no reports that he's struggling or looks bad. So that's the only thing. It could be a slow start those first couple weeks. So if that's the case, then you have a few games and then the bye in week 10. And a lot of people expect to make the playoffs in fantasy, and then you get him back for that stretch run where maybe he takes you over the top. So,
Yeah.
but again, there's going to be a lot of people who are conservative, and they're going to be like, "I want no part of it. Why am I going to take a player who's missing 6 games? I know I'm going to be hit with other injuries and guys missing time." And I understand that too. So it all comes down to your perspective, where he is. So yeah, I'm not completely out on him. It's got to be the right fit. Like to me, I couldn't take him last night early 5th round because there were better receivers on the board for me. That's why. But there does come a point where you go, well, a lot of these receivers have question marks. I'm good with my starters. Yeah, I'm going to take the chance and put them on the bench. But the idea of missing 6 games is tough for some people.
Yeah, and I think that's fair for people that think that way too. And for me, going down the depth chart in the list, I mean Xavier Worthy, that the team drafted him in the first round 2024 with a very specific role in mind, but he was obviously asked to do more once Rashee Rice got hurt. Can probably expect the same things here again. He's got to take, for me, Worthy. I've actually taken a good amount of Worthy this season. I do like him because also we've talked about this before, but I do believe that if you have a really fully healthy wide receiver room for Patrick Mahomes, that I'm expecting him to be a top 10 quarterback in fantasy football again. We've talked about the explosiveness, how they have to get back to those ways. Xavier Worthy has to take a step in terms of like his ability to win on the outside, and there's other things that he needs to do. But you have another 6 games without Rashee Rice. Anyone else? I mean, we've talked Xavier Worthy. You can let me know your opinion on him. Man, we haven't meant Hollywood Brown is, I mean, I think he's still hurt, right? It's one of those things where he just isn't healthy, but he would be one that would also get a bump if he's good to go week 1. I need to look that up. And
Yeah,
then they have Jalen Royals, the rookie.
who's banged up too?
Yeah.
Tyquan Thornton made the team. He's looked good in the preseason. They still have Juju, who we don't care about for fantasy. Uh,
No, tell your league mates, tell your your opponents to draft Juju.
yeah, Mahomes though is interesting. I don't have him anywhere. He went in the middle of the 8th round last
Kind of
night.
nervous about it that you don't have any?
Yeah, I would definitely
Yeah.
because you saw it. They talked about it. Mahomes said he was working on his deep passes. Statistically, the numbers were bad the last 2 years. You saw that preseason game where they played. They were opening up. They looked good. We've just not seen all these receivers on the field at once, and we're not going to see it now again till week
Nope.
7, and we'll see what happens at that point. But when you have Worthy, Rice, Kelsey, Hollywood Brown, I mean, that's an offense that's capable of being explosive. And let's not forget Pacheco back healthy. So
Yep.
yeah, look, Hollywood Brown. It's all because there were some quotes from the offensive coordinator a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, look, we need to see him on the field. Like you could tell, since there was frustration there that he just hasn't been on the field enough. So that's always the concern with him. But he's going in the double digit rounds where I think it's worth taking at this point. I'm trying to think where he went. He went in round 11 of my
Okay.
league last
I
night.
mean, yeah. And
That's a bench
Rice,
guy.
or I'm sorry, in Xavier Worthy, just to finish up with him, have you, because he hasn't moved much, right? I think at the beginning when we first started going 5 days a week again after our Sunday shows, it was very interesting to see where Rashee Rice was going compared to Xavier Worthy. It almost felt like people were split and saying, I believe in Rashee Rice, I believe in Xavier Worthy, because they were going kind of close together. Now, consensus wise, this is consensus at fantasylife.com. We've got him consensus wide receiver 21. It's going to stay that way, obviously, with the 6 game suspension as well. Have you taken him much? I mean, what are your expectations for him, especially to start the season?
Well, I wanted him last night and I was 2 picks away
Oh,
and he
got
went,
sniped.
or
Dang.
yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm open to taking him. He went later than I thought, 4-7. I thought he would jump a little bit because we did see him down the stretch really improve. They found a way to get him the ball, and at least the first 6 games with Rice out, he's going to be a big part of this offense. You know, him and Kelsey are probably going to see a lot of volume early on. So I would think that he jumps up more. Like, I really thought he was going to go earlier. I was like
Same.
surprised that he was sitting. I was like, wait, am I missing something here? So, yeah, I think he goes earlier. I think you could start to see him go. Maybe not in home leagues though, but I would think he could jump to the third round.
Yeah, I do too. I was surprised that he hasn't, even when we heard about the potential mid-season suspension with Rashee Rice. I thought, well, okay, here it goes. You know, Xavier Worthy's going to maybe be too pricey for me, and I can't go back. But yeah, I mean, and you look at points per game last season, sitting at 19.1, wide receiver one Worthy. No pun intended there, but it could be if you want it to be. Targets, he was sitting at 25%, air yards 21%, yards per route run at 2.13, which is more borderline wide receiver two there. But I mean, we don't know much of what his numbers are going to look like when Rice gets back, but you've got a 6 games coming up where you don't have to worry about that. And I think that's where the value lies.
And he had a good postseason too. I know it doesn't
Yeah.
count for fantasy, but you're also facing better competition. He had 21 targets in 3 games in the postseason, 19 catches, 287 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I know the Super Bowl, they were kind of being blown out and it came later, but still, he had 3 carries for 8 yards. You know, they do involve him a little bit on the ground. So yeah, he's in a good spot to start the year.
He definitely is. We've got more news that we need to get through here, as well as waivers, Adam. It is about, we're back when we're talking waivers. Week one, what? You don't
I
like
haven't.
it?
I'm.
Come
I'm.
on.
I'm holding it off. I'm putting it off till
Ah,
like
jeez.
Monday.
Well,
Have you
some
started
people
looking
aren't.
yet?
Adam, I've got an article live at
No, I know. Well,
fantasylife.com.
you're
Oh,
because
heck
we're
yeah.
helping people get ahead of the curve. But I'm saying
I've picked
you
some. Oh,
personally,
yeah.
have
Oh,
you
yeah.
started looking through your waiver wires yet and putting in
Yes.
claims?
1,000% yes.
Okay.
For the leagues, especially that I drafted in July. Oh my gosh, Adam, I won't even say it on the air. Some of those players that I picked up, no, they're not working out. It's just not going to happen. That's why it's important to get ready for those waivers, though, because either guys get injured, either guys get, some of them get cut. Some of them we just know more about the situation, about the backfields that we're in. So, yeah, the Jaylen Warren shares are, or no, Jaylen Wright shares are a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
tough,
that's not good.
little bit tough right now. So yes, I have definitely gone to the waiver wire, and everyone else should too. We're going to talk about some of those names, more news coming up next. Oh, it is about that time. Yeah, we're talking through waivers. And we get to talk with Lawrence Jackson here coming up next, which will be so exciting here, Adam. So make sure you keep it locked right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. It's time, Adam, when we're talking through waivers. I've got an article at fantasylife.com. Adam is trying to not talk about waivers right now. He's
I didn't
pushing
say
it.
that.
You're pushing it. You're not doing it right now.
Well,
You got to be
I
ready.
have a draft tonight,
I do
so
too.
I'm
But you got to be
gonna.
ready.
I'll probably do it on
Tuesday?
probably Monday. What'd you say?
Okay.
What day?
You don't have drafts on Monday? I've got 2 on
I
Monday.
might have one Monday night.
Oh yeah, you're beat Adam Ronis League. They
Well,
are.
it's not official yet, so I don't want to say anything.
You're sick. We're sick. We got to stop. But waivers, I mean, we've talked about this before. All jokes aside, the week 1 waiver wire run and the one right after this coming week are really important because we kind of get answers to some questions that we might not have answers to yet. You see some guys flash and you say, wow, are they going to use him like this the whole season, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why these names are important. I tried to go through as many, Adam, and it depends on your league, right? If you're in deep formats, if you're playing, if you're doing 20 round drafts, a lot of these guys are going to be taken. I tried to find some that might not be, but all of the roster percentages are from Yahoo. So you guys can go and check that out. So I tried to do it some for everyone, right? 10 team leagues, 12 team leagues, going all the way up to 14. Let's see what we can get you. I think the biggest one for me, the biggest two, Ollie Gordon is probably not available for you, but if he is definitely one of the guys to go and get. He's 24% rostered right now, according to Yahoo. But we know that Achane, they have announced and said that he is going to be good to go for week 1, but we never want a calf injury for any running back, but especially this close to the season. He had that injury a few weeks ago, on track to play in week 1, going up against the Indianapolis Colts. And then Jaylen Wright, we thought maybe he was going to be the backup to Achane, but he didn't look good in the preseason, also dealing with an undisclosed lower leg injury, whatever that could be. So Ollie Gordon, to me, if you were asking me right now who the biggest guy could be on waivers, if he's there for you, you have to go get him.
Yes, that's definitely a name that could be out there, especially in leagues that drafted only 16 rounds. Like you said, looking back at one of my early drafts with 20 rounds, he was selected. But we know a lot of people listening are playing in leagues with just 16 roster spots. So if you drafted late July, early August, he's probably out there. And he's looked really good in the preseason. And the Jaylen Wright issue certainly is something that could take a couple weeks for him to get back. And he was being outplayed by Gordon anyway in the preseason.
Yeah, truly, he was.
And HN, they're saying he's ready for week 1. Okay, cool, but it is a calf issue, and you do need to worry about that. Sometimes that can get aggravated pretty quickly. So yes, Gordon is a great pickup if he is available on your waiver wire.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, 24% rostered there. This article, again, live at fantasylife.com, 100% free too. I tweeted it out this morning so you guys can go and check it out, but make sure you look before, week 1 starts. A week from today, Chris Rodriguez was another one, Adam. He's only 6% rostered. Again, depends on when you were drafting. If it was before or after the Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt news, but the Brian Robinson Jr. news, I should say. Brian Robinson Jr., as we all remember, was traded to the San Francisco 49ers, and that means all the hype is looking at Ja'Cory, Bill Krosky-Merritt. We'll get there. I thought they were going to do it. Now it's going to scare me. No, now it's going to scare me, and I know it for a fact. So
that's why they're playing possum.
No, it's making me nervous now. So Bill, we know that all eyes are on him, but I do think Rodriguez, for what it's worth, he was singled out for goal line work during the second preseason game, and then I think during the season we see him play into the early down short yardage game as well with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. So look, we don't really truly know what this backfield is going to look like, but I think Rodriguez is worth taking a flyer on. He only had 34 carries in 2024, but came away with a 74% success rate according to The Athletic. So he's someone that I'm comfortable with. If you've got other running backs on down your depth chart and you're just like, these guys aren't going to see it yet, I think Rodriguez is a good guy to know.
Yeah, trying to figure out this backfield is something we will be watching early on. Krosky-Merritt has soared up draft boards. It was fun getting him in the double-digit rounds. That is no longer the case. And Austin Eckler is still there. He's going to play a role in the passing game too. So this could be a situation where maybe it's an ugly 3-way committee.
Ew, why would you say that? Don't
it's
say
possible.
That to JCM, man.
Look, I hope not. I drafted him in quite a few leagues early, but I don't see myself getting him anymore because the price has just gone up so high that you want to guess where he went in my draft last night?
Oh, geez. I'll say round 5.
8.
Oh, okay.
8-11.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I've seen some crazy takes on
Ja'Cory. In our GST league, he went in round 5.
Yeah, that's why I said those. No, no offense. You're not going to see me take JCM round 5.
Hey, I was like, cool. Go ahead, take him. Round 5.
Where do you have Eckler in your rankings? Just run.
He moved up.
We can do running back over. So I have him at 41. Too high?
No. I have him somewhere in that range too.
Yeah.
Look, the thing with him, he's not desirable to draft for me because he's not going to get a lot of carries. So he will play a role in the passing game. So, but you have to, when you're doing rankings, that's kind of the area where he needs to be. But I don't see myself drafting him.
I looked, I don't have him except for one, a best ball team, right? Just a little bit of exposure there on Underdog, but that's kind of it. But again, our rankings are live at fantasylife.com. Chris Rodriguez, running back for the Commanders, 6% rostered. I know we said we weren't touching the Houston Texans backfield, but what could I interest you in flyers on Dameon Pierce, Woody Marks? Because we know we're not drafting Joe Mixon. I mean, we're going to talk about this in the water cooler too. Now they're saying, I don't know if anyone hasn't seen this, there is concern now that Joe Mixon might not play the season. I mean, their GM, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, was very non-committal on Joe Mixon playing this season. I think the quote was, "We'll see. We'll take it one day at a time. We'll evaluate, those players after 4 weeks and see where they are in their progress and then make a determination." But I mean, the vibes are bad, Adam. The vibes are really bad. But Woody Marks, Dameon Pierce, again, cheap guys on the waiver wire. We started talking about Dameon Pierce once we saw that Joe Mixon was, going to be out the first 4 games of the season. You and I haven't taken any Nick Chubb, but those two are some guys that I just wanted to highlight just in case, because Chubb's coming off really bad injuries, and if he were to go down, those two, I mean, someone eventually has to run the ball, right? Like that's what I'm looking at here.
Well, they do, but it doesn't mean that they're going to pick up positive yards. So
It's true.
it is a backfield that I'm avoiding if it costs me anything. I am not drafting Joe Mixon at all. You are correct. The vibes have been atrocious this whole offseason. Look in the mirror and blame yourself if you've already drafted Joe Mixon. I'm serious. Like, no part of him. And he
You're
was
so
buried in my
funny.
rankings from the beginning. So I want no part of him. I don't want Nick Chubb at the cost. He's moving up. Dameon Pierce, I did take in a early draft in round 20. So like that late, yeah, because you see what happens.
Mhm.
And if it's bad, then you just cut him and move on. So Woody Marks went round 14 last night, and Dameon Pierce went round 17. I was going to take Pierce if he made it back. He didn't. But yeah, like at that point, sure. But if you're in a league with 16 rounds, there probably are better options that you could take. But yeah, Pierce, I would see, okay, is there anything there? But in general, I'm avoiding this backfield. I just think they're going to rely on the pass more, and there's no one that stands out here.
This is also a team that I think, after looking through and doing, all the stats, all the stuff from the running backs that they do have, if they're winning, right, and the trade deadline comes, they're probably going to trade for a running back because they know that they have to be totally fair. I know that's months down the road, but
yeah, that could happen. If they're getting nothing out of the running game and no one steps up, that could happen.
But if they're winning, if they're keeping it close too during the season, I could see it happening. Let me go through another one here. Again, going through waiver wire names to know prior to week 1. Yes, this week is very important for waivers. Check this article out at fantasylife.com. I wanted to bring up Harold Fannin again, tight end for the Cleveland Browns. 1% rostered. A lot of the times, Adam, undrafted. This is going to be one where, again, not a sexy pick, not a sexy name, and you're probably going to have to wait a little while. But Harold Fannin, for what it's worth, we talked with Zach Jackson weeks ago on the outlook of the Browns. He had nothing but good things to say about Harold Fannin Jr. And then fast forward, the Browns released Deontay Johnson, and I think that is a move that does support that Fannin could potentially be fantasy relevant, or relevant, I guess, in their offense. Again, it's not going to be something where he's getting David Njoku numbers, but when he was with David Njoku in the first quarter of that game last season, he had 60% of the snaps, 60% routes, 33% targets per route run. And so those are good numbers to have him out there. So again, not a name that you're really excited about, and you'll probably look and say, I can't do this. He might be your first cut, but someone to remember.
Yes, I would say in tight end premium leagues, definitely, for sure. My guess is he's probably drafted there a lot. There are people that probably take in a tight end premium league. I would think, yeah, I think there are people that take 3-4 tight ends.
Yeah.
In most other leagues, no. He was drafted in my league last night. I was very surprised.
Really?
I was
so the end
round 19, first pick around 19, and it was their second tight end too. So, but yeah, he's going to be on the field. We know that he's going to play a lot, and there's also the possibility that Njoku gets traded. He's in the final year of his contract. So to me, this is more of a guy that you keep an eye on. I don't think I wouldn't draft him in even 20 rounds where you start one tight end. I wouldn't, but I definitely would keep him on the radar.
Yeah, keep him on. Again, it's one of those guys where I wouldn't drop someone that maybe has a clearer path right now. It's just one of those guys, though, where it's going to happens every year. By week 2, we've got injuries. Week 3, we're really in it. And so he could be one of those guys. I'm probably going to keep him on, to be honest, the waiver wire article for the first couple of weeks.
I think he will be on there.
He's going to be someone that I think consistently is under 5% rostership, but someone you should definitely be paying at least attention to. Again, you don't want to drop other guys like we've named already for someone like Harold Fannin, but if you've got really deep benches and maybe you drafted, I picked him up one place because I had Marshawn Lloyd. Like guys like that, where we know, hey, Marshawn Lloyd, it obviously isn't working out. He's injured. He's missing the first 4 games of the season. At least probably more, Adam, because we can't have nice things. That's where you go and look at a Harold Fannin and say, all right, I'm gonna pick him up here. So again, waiver wire article is live at fantasylife.com. Had a fun time writing it, and we're in the thick of it, Adam. We're here and we're ready to go. If we're talking waivers going into week 1, we get to talk now though with Lawrence Jackson. Going to talk to him about his expectations for the 2025 fantasy season. I want to know his sleepers, his guys. We're going to talk to him next. I'm so excited right now, Adam, because we get to talk with the one and only Lawrence Jackson Jr. from NBC Sports. Everyone go to NBCsports.com. Make sure to check out all of the articles that he has written this offseason. I know that he's got a new one out where you're looking at preseason risers and fallers. But Lawrence, welcome into the show. How you doing?
For sure. Appreciate it, Kendall and Adam. Nice to be on here again with you guys at that perfect time too, right? We're about a week out from this thing kicking off, so it's ready. We ready to go. It is finally here, man.
That's why we had to wait. We had to bring in the big guy here to make sure that we get all the good news and information from you right when it really, really matters here. So we're 7 days away, Lawrence. I want to know to start, because we talk to Matthew Berry all the time. We got the big boss on here. He has his ride or die for the season, which we know is Amari and Hampton. I want to know who one of your guys is this season, though. Just one player that you found yourself, you can't stop drafting. You say, I need to walk out of a lot of drafts with this player. Who would that be for you this year?
Yeah, well, when it comes to the quarterback position, we all know who, kind of the top 3, 4, 5 guys maybe are at that position. And if you find yourself not getting those guys in drafts, I'm not having a problem with that. I'm just waiting, and I'm getting Justin Fields. That's my guy right there. That was my pitch to Barry for ride or die. And when you think about it, this is a guy who finished as a top 8 fantasy quarterback twice in his career on an underwhelming Bears team with that roster. You see what that was back then. So the thing about Fields is he's been able to do it from a fantasy perspective and has put up historical numbers from a quarterback running perspective too. So Justin Fields would be my guy on a Jets team where he has a head coach and Aaron Glenn who believes in him.
Hope you're right on that, because I have a lot of Justin Fields, so I need Fields to come through. So another player you're really high on, because I saw you took him in the GST draft in round 8, Tyler Warren, and then I see your article, you have him ranked at tight end 4. So you are very high on Tyler Warren. What is it that stands out about him? Why you have him at tight end 4?
Just the unique skill set that he has for the tight end position. He showed that a lot at Penn State, that he could run the ball, he could take snaps and throw the ball. So really a good weapon to utilize, especially when we get to the goal line. And the good thing about Tyler Warren is he all about that action. Like, I got a chance to interview him at the Combine before he was even drafted, and he was like, I would love to be the guy that they use on the tush push there. So Tyler Warren, when you saw him in the preseason, Ronis, whether it was Richardson or Daniel Jones, both of those quarterbacks was targeting him heavily. And if the Colts offense is really going to take that next step, they need that threat at the tight end, which they haven't had these past several seasons.
Talking again with Lawrence Jackson here from NBC Sports. You can go and find his latest article with the fantasy football preseason stock up, stock down, NBCsports.com. I want to know, I saw that you have, Lawrence, Kenneth Walker as a stock down player from the preseason. So I'm curious what your expectations are for him going into this season. And then on the other side of that, if his stock is down, if you believe that Zach Charbonnet might be the best handcuff to have this year.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I know that's your boy on your team.
It's okay.
But the good thing is you got 2 serviceable running backs that could get it done, and that's the thing when it comes to Kenneth Walker in fantasy. I myself, as a fantasy manager, I'm not even sure how to approach that situation because I don't know if they're going to try to scale him back to keep him healthier now that they know they have a Zach Charbonnet that they could depend on. And what we do see in Zach Charbonnet is that when he does get his opportunity, when Kenneth Walker misses times, he's just as, if not more productive. Both guys average 4.2 yards per carry for their career. So I'm not certain that he will be getting those 20 touches per game, because if I was certain, and I think a lot of people aren't, then he wouldn't be on the stock down, but it's still a nice talent when we're talking football. But from the fantasy perspective, I just don't know how the coaching staff will use those two running backs now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We are seeing Breece Hall fall. I've seen him go round 5, round 6. Is this drop justified? And what's your outlook on the Jets backfield?
Yeah. So the drop that far, I don't, maybe round 5 you could justify it, but I've went to a few Jets practices when they had the joint practice with the Giants, and I think it's like, yeah, they're gonna use Braelon Allen as they should. He's a good young player, but Breece Hall, when you hear about him, potentially being used in the passing game even more, it's a real thing, and it's something that I've seen with my own eyes. Like, literally, the offense's first team snap, he'll go out there, line up out wide, motion across, and Justin Fields is hitting them. And when you think about it, you can't really name a wide receiver 2 for the Jets off the top of your head, so you have to think about it a little bit. So that's where Breece Hall comes in, and he only caught 57 passes last year, but I think this season, if he could get back to that 75 catch range, which he was in 2023, then I think a lot of people will get steals in some drafts, even though he may lose those touches in short yardage and goal line areas.
Lawrence, what are you doing? We need help here with Najee Harris. I mean, it feels like it's been a riddle all off. I know, right? That's how I feel like that's how everyone feels, because we've been avoiding, right? We've said we have no news on him. He hasn't been out at practice. We get excited when we hear that he's like running laps at practice, and then all of a sudden, they say, actually, we're going to activate him from the NFI list, and there's a chance that he plays week 1. Is he one of those guys where at this point you say, well, maybe he could be a value in drafts. Maybe I want to be taking him. Or are you still looking at maybe avoiding Najee Harris?
I would never completely avoid any player in fantasy, as at some point every player becomes a value. And I actually saw it yesterday. We had our show league draft here for Fantasy Football Happy Hour, and he went in double-digit rounds. So I think at that point, especially when they're saying that he might play week 1, at worst-case scenario, you thinking within the first 3 weeks, right? So at some point, he does become a value. He's just not someone you're targeting. But if you see him fall and slip too far, especially we're talking double-digit rounds, because when he plays, he's not just going to sit on the bench. And remember, Najee Harris he's an anomaly for running backs. He ain't ever missed a game. So when you think about that aspect of it, I'm pretty sure they say he has a chance to play. He's going to try his hardest to make sure he does.
You also have Dante Thornton as a wide receiver for the Raiders. What are your expectations for him this year?
Yeah, and things get interesting now, right, with Amari Cooper coming back there. Not to say that Amari Cooper he'll be what he once was on the Raiders or the Cowboys, right? But just that another veteran presence to kind of, I guess, mess that up from a fantasy perspective. But Dante Thornton came in as the 4th round pick, whereas Jack Bech came in as the 2nd round receiver, and he kind of jumped him in the pecking order, and he's going to start for a Raiders team that has Geno Smith. And as we know, Geno Smith, one of the more efficient deep ball throwers in the NFL, one of the more volume throwers in the NFL as well. So at the very least, in that offense, Dante Thornton, who ran a 4.30 at the combine, he's going to be their downfield threat. And what you like that you saw out of him is their last preseason game with the starting offense, he caught that touchdown from Geno Smith. So We got Jacoby Myers. He's the unquestioned number one. We know he requested a trade, but those things usually don't happen. Then you got Trey Tucker there. I think Dante Thornton would be a better draft pick than Trey Tucker, and obviously Brock Bowers, but definitely somebody to take in Thornton as a flyer later in your drafts.
Amazing. Well, Lawrence, we appreciate you so much for hanging out with us here again. This was Lawrence Jackson from NBC Sports. Make sure you're giving him a follow over there on X at Lord Don't Lose. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend, draft weekend, and hopefully we get to talk to you during the season.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, there he goes again. Lawrence Jackson from NBC Sports. You can check out that article, NBCsports.com. We're going to continue on, Adam. Don't be surprised if blank, ... We're going to go through some potential, non-surprises for 2025. See what we have. We're going to do that coming up next. We're going through Don't Be Surprised If. This was an article that I saw at ESPN, so you guys can all go check that out from Dan Graziano. But it's things that he's been hearing around the league, things that could affect us for fantasy football. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you right here, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM, Fantasy Sports Radio. Don't be surprised if Jordan Mason leads the team in rushing. Oh, that would be great, Adam. And it's one that I think we've talked a good amount about Jordan Mason, but he has been one where we haven't really seen him as a handcuff this all off season, to be totally honest. He's been one of those guys where it's a 1A, 1B situation in our minds. And so we know that the Minnesota Vikings still love Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones is going to be 31 years old in December. When's his birthday?
Oh, I know
When's his
this.
birthday?
December 12th.
It's definitely December. Oh no, second.
Oh,
you
okay.
were so close.
I was.
You were there. You
14 days.
It was better than some of the ones yesterday that we were trying to do. But this would be great if this came true. Leads the team in rushing. I think he's one of those late round picks that I have a lot of shares of Jordan Mason this season, and I'm very comfortable with it. I know that I had a good amount of Aaron Jones last season, and he really helped me for fantasy last year. But things changed, and again, I think this is a good 1-2 punch. I think this is a good backfield to just have shares of. But Jordan Mason is going to be the one that I want the most of.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell has said it's 1A, 1B. Aaron Jones coming off a career high workload, 322 touches. And you could see down the stretch, he wasn't as good, struggled near the goal line as well. And we see there's probably a reason. All those years in Green Bay, they said, yes, let's not give him 300 touches. We'll just use him in a tandem. Probably worked best. And Minnesota didn't really have that choice last year, and now they do. They traded for Mason. They gave him $7 million guaranteed. He is going to play a big role in this offense. And I have seen some drafts where Mason has gone ahead of Aaron Jones, including the one I did last night.
Oh, was it you?
No, it wasn't. I wanted him, and yeah, I probably should have taken him.
You were getting too.
Well, he went.
Greed
So
is not the right word,
Mason went 6'12".
Whoa.
Right? Like,
wow.
That's what I was like.
That's
Okay.
early. That's early. I mean, hey, listen, I get it though. If he could, I mean, Jordan Mason could be a league winner. If we're talking about guys and their values and where they've gone, he's still going too late on. If you're drafting on ESPN this weekend, listen up, because pick 133 is a steal.
Yeah.
Get him a couple. I mean, that's one of those guys where I say, you know what, take him a round or two early, because he should never be going at that price anyway. He's usually going in well, it depends on where you draft. I mean, Underdog, he's going early 80s, but 99 on Sleeper, 93 on Yahoo, 90 on CBS. 133 is too late.
I have an article on Fantasy Life exploiting the ESPN ADPs, and I could have written 100,000 words, but I know you guys wouldn't want to read that much, so I narrowed it down to 10. So you could check it out on the site if you play on ESPN, because there's a lot of players that are incorrectly valued.
Don't be surprised if Deebo Samuel gets work at running back. Again, this is per Dan Graziano. What I'm hearing, I don't think it'll be exactly like it was in San Francisco 2021 when Samuel was getting 6-7 carries per game. But Washington coaches believe Samuel can be a factor when lined up in the backfield. We talked about him, compared him more to Stephon Diggs. I don't have as many shares as Deebo Samuel as I thought I would. I did like this landing spot though, and I just thought that last season as well, with all the injuries, pair that with pneumonia, that maybe he could have a better season from last year. But if we compare him to someone like Diggs, I do have more shares of Diggs compared to Deebo Samuel, but getting work at running back is something that is definitely on the table.
Yeah, I could see it. He's done it before in this offense. They can be creative and do that with him. He is a lot cheaper than I thought he would be,
And he's
considering.
stayed that way
Yeah.
all off season. He's stayed that
So
way.
based on that, like I'm open to drafting him if I need a receiver at that point. Now, again, there is risk because he's very physical. He's missed games. He's getting older. He's, when you play that style and you're getting older, it is possibly leading to more injuries. And he's really only had one huge fantasy season in his career. But considering the price, I would definitely be interested if I need a receiver in the range he goes.
Yeah, pick 105 on ESPN, 81 on Sleeper, 99 Yahoo. He's kind of all over the place. CBS 82, but
Yeah, 82 is too high.
too high. Same with 81 on Sleeper, which I'm surprised about. But 105, 99, I'm down. Why not? A little Deebo Samuel for 2025. We're going to continue on. It is time to start taking your phone calls. So make sure you guys are calling in. Send us messages over there on X as well. It's time for the water cooler. Going through the news, the notes that you might have missed over the last 24 hours. We're heading there next. It is about that time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler, going through all the headlines that you might have missed and the ones that definitely are going to affect your drafts tonight, tomorrow, and into the weekend as well. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you right here on Fantasy Life. We're here to take your phone calls. We are here for you guys. We want to make sure that we're answering as many as we can because we know you've got big questions going into the weekend. 888-963-2682 is the phone number, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app if you're over there, which is super cool. You can also go over to X if you're in a meeting, if you're just like secretly listening to us at work. It's okay. Don't call us. You can send us a message at kvalenzuela17 at Adam Ronis over there on X, and we'll try to get to those questions as well. Because we all have questions right now, Adam. You've got questions about the Cowboys. I've got questions about. No, not about the Seahawks, really. I was going to say maybe Sam Darnold, but I don't. I know exactly where I have him ranked, and he hasn't moved that much this season. So it's a good time. It's a fun time getting in all those last-minute drafts.
It is, and that's what happens is people have their drafts lined up, and you always want to draft more. I mean, again, that's why best ball.
You're talking about you.
No, I'm talking about everyone. There's people. Someone told me that the other day. Like their GST was their first draft, and then they said they signed up for like 5 more. So, you know how it is. You draft and you get the itch. You're like, oh, I want to do more, and that's why best ball is popular because you can just draft those teams and you don't have to worry about management. That's the biggest thing is the waiver wire and the time that it takes. So, yeah, I was talking to Chris Vaccaro, who owns the Greenwich Street Tavern. And he said I think he said he was doing about 70 or 80 drafts this year.
What?
Yeah. So I said on Wednesdays, I'm just going to text him all day and bother him. He's like, I'm not going to answer you. But that's crazy.
Does that include Underdog? Because that's
no, this insane. Is with Fab Leagues.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is nuts. Shout out to Chris.
Can you imagine doing that many waiver wires?
No, it kind of makes me sick, to be honest, like thinking about it.
You got to spend like the whole year. Basically, you got to start on Monday, right?
Oh,
or Tuesday morning.
You'd have to, or else you'd be behind.
Yeah.
Especially if it's Fab. Like that's way different. You have to, I mean, you always have to think when you're doing waivers, but Fab is a different beast. That's insane. Is he okay? Should we check in?
I hope so, yeah.
Maybe by like week 8, we check in and say, hey, how you doing? Are you okay?
You wearing down yet or what?
Oh my gosh. Well, we are here, whether you're in one league or whether you're in 80 or whatever you just said for Chris, which is absolutely nuts. We are here for you though. We've got any questions that you have. We're here to answer them. Want to go through in this segment though. We always do this at the top of the second hour, going through the pieces of news that you might have missed because it happens to all of us, but you don't want to be, you don't want to go into your drafts not knowing everything that's going on right now in the NFL universe. So let's start with Rashee Rice. We talked about him at the beginning of the show, but just in case people missed that, Rashee Rice was suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Overall, Adam, this is probably a best case scenario for fantasy football managers. You now don't have to worry about a potential mid-season suspension. You don't have to worry about, maybe it bleeding into the fantasy playoffs. It's going to be 6 games right off the top. Their bye week is week 10. You don't have to worry about buys too much there. Hopefully you don't have to worry about too much injuries in the first 6 weeks of the season as well. You've talked about it. I've talked about it. It really depends on the build and, your roster spots, right? If you have 1 flex spot, 2 receivers, 2 running running backs, it's a lot easier to draft Rashee Rice. Once you get past that, you get into the 2-3 flex positions, it makes it a little bit more difficult to draft Rashee Rice, right?
Yeah, but the other side of it too is that early in the season, though, like every week is important, but of all the weeks, you'd rather have them out then, right? The first 4 weeks,
Absolutely.
no one's on bye. You don't have these massive bye weeks this year too. So if you can get through that 6 game stretch, and again, it is much easier to do it early in the season. Now, you run the risk of your roster getting hit hard by injuries. You have multiple injuries. Now you have Rice on the bench. That's where it can get challenging. But if you're able to get through that, now you have a receiver that could be a real difference maker down the stretch. So it also comes down to the level of competition. We all know there's people in home leagues where they know 3 or 4 people in their draft are just clueless. They just mess around. They're there to drink. If you're in a league like that, then yeah, you know that you have an edge on the competition. You could take that risk. If you're in a league with really good competition where you're not getting value, it could be a little bit more difficult. So uh, that's where the rankings are good, but you also have to make a gauge of your league, and you guys know your league better than anyone. Uh, and if you are starting only 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex, I am going to be way more aggressive on Rice there because your starting lineup is not as deep. But yeah, I think you're going to see Rice go around round 5 or 6, and I'm fine with taking him there, especially if that's your wide receiver 4 or 5. I saw Dwayne and Ian did a draft on RT Sports last night. So if you don't know that format, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 flex spots. They took
Yep.
Rice in round 7, I think, as their 4th receiver. That is perfect in that format. That absolutely works out. So yeah, again, it all depends on your format, who you're drafting with.
Is that what you do during drafts with your league mates? You just say, "Hey, here's some beers, here's some alcohol,
I hope
drink
people get
up."
I hope people get hammered during the draft when we're in person. Yeah, I didn't notice the
Say, "Don't worry
flex,
about it."
but then again, Dwayne got
Uh,
he drinking at the draft last year and he won the league, so
and he
maybe
won
that's
the
the
whole
secret.
thing.
And I
That was
did
the
that one year
funniest
too. There was
part.
one year. This was years ago in a flex league.
You did?
There was an open bar, and I was like, all right. And
Oh, heck yeah.
I drank too much. I won the league. So maybe that's the secret to
Is
success.
that the key? Can you do your last beat out in Ronis League and just be like maybe at the Grand Street Tavern or something and let us know how it goes? Could be fun.
I
Who
feel
says
like it
no?
won't work out this time to the best. I
Oh,
need to
dang it.
focus during drafts. I don't like any distractions. I really don't want to be bothered. I don't really get involved in the chat. Like, I need to focus. Like, it's only an hour and a half to 2 hours where you're laying
Yeah,
the
I'm with you.
foundation for your team. I just want to be dialed in on that. I don't need no outside distractions.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But it does sound fun though. Yeah, just to say, if you're in one of Adam Ronis's leagues, you know what he's going to try to do to you there. Continuing on here again through the water cooler, going through some of the headlines that you might have missed. And again, the phone number 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. Just a little update on Jauan. Well, I don't even know, Adam. Maybe not an update. I just always want to say this one because Jauan Jennings goes at an interesting part of the draft. 49ers say that they're not trading Jauan Jennings. We know that he has requested a trade like over a month ago, I want to say. And then he has also been injured, but he requested a trade because he wants, a new contract going into the 2025 season. Then the 49ers just said they're hopeful, but not sure he will play week 1. This situation, again, we've got some odd situations going on in the NFL right now where it feels like maybe this happens every single season, but we've got huge question marks heading into week 1. Najee Harris is one of those guys. Jauan Jennings is one of those guys because not only is it a contract situation, but he's also, he really is also injured is what the reports are. So with Jauan Jennings, does it depend on for you where he goes, or are you completely out? Because I look at it, I've taken him, Adam. I'm going to be honest. I've taken him in the last couple of weeks because I've said to myself, all right, when he does get back out there, they need him. They are so starved for wide receivers on this team that we know Ricky Pearsall is going to have a big role. We know George Kittle is going to have a big role. Of course, CMC. But if he were to ever get out there, they're going to utilize him. They need him.
Yeah, they do, which is why he's someone I'm still willing to take. He went 9-2 in my draft last night. I was 2 picks away. I didn't need a wide receiver, so I would not have taken him. But if I did, he would have been under consideration for sure, because at that point, he's a bench player. I'm not relying on him to start. It is a cloudy situation because
It is.
a lot of us are like, yeah, I don't know how much that calf is bothering him. Is this the contract? But then again, there was a report that came out a couple days ago that there's a chance they put him on IR. And maybe they did that to say, hey, if you don't get out there, you're not going to get paid. I don't know what's going on, but they definitely need him on the field right now because they are extremely thin at receivers. So, yeah, it's gotten to the point now with that price. If I'm taking him as a guy that's on my bench and I didn't take Rice early or any other guys that are banged up or in jeopardy of missing some time, yeah, I would. I'm still taking him.
You don't need us to tell you next up here to not draft Joe Mixon. We've said that all offseason. Nick Chubb, I've seen people push back on the Nick Chubb stuff, Adam, and I get it. If he is one of your guys that you like, then we can't go back and forth on that. You're going to do what you want to do. But Joe Mixon, we're drawing the line. We're saying don't do it. Joe Mixon, again, is not able to start the season. He's going to miss the first 4 games of the year. And then just another note on him. They sound very non-committal on his status for like the whole 2025 season, Adam, which is just, again, we've said the vibes are bad. If you're going to see him probably drop down rankings, drop down boards this weekend, especially as well. But again, they have, I mean, the answer was, we'll see, when asked if Joe Mixon plays this season. That is not any type of response that you want when you're looking at a potential fantasy player, especially a running back for this season. So Joe Mixon, who knows if we see him this year? I don't know. It's got
Teams
weird.
are never this pessimistic. They always are taking the positive view, like, yeah, we expect him back. He should be fine. When you see quotes like that, that is a really bad sign. And it sounds like he might not play this entire season.
And we'll see. But again, even if he does, we've still been staying away. It's just a backfield that just doesn't feel right. And so again, you might be lured in, Adam, depending on how far he falls in drafts this weekend. But I don't think he's never going to fall far enough for me to take him.
He went round 16 in my draft last night.
Wow, that's pretty late. No, I'm kidding.
It is, but like there's no IR spots. I know we have a deep bench, but
I don't know.
I was not interested.
Maybe last pick 20, round 20. Maybe I'll say yes. But even then, I don't think
so. If you have IR spots, I might take them that late and just put them on IR, but I don't think I'm going to do it.
I don't think
it's a really bad feeling here. It doesn't sound, there's been nothing positive at all. So
no.
I'll just stay away.
Okay. All right. Let someone else take them. Last couple ones here, really quick, rapid fire for the water cooler. And again, fantasylife.com. We've talked about staying up to date on the news, knowing everything before you go into those drafts this weekend. Fantasy Life is going to help you do that. You can sign up for our newsletter in your inbox 7 days a week, 100% free. All of our articles as well, 100% free. But if you want Fantasy Life Plus Tier 1 or Tier 2, sync your leagues, get ready for your drafts that way. Use that code SXM20. SXM20 gets you 20% off any Tier 1 or Tier 2 fantasy subscription. Let's look at, so Jordan Rodriguez. Oh, what happened?
So we have some news here.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
I don't have my phone on it.
Jaylen Wright underwent surgery, but he could return at some point in September. That's from McDaniel.
What kind of surgery? The lower leg surgery? Like a lower leg thing?
Probably, yeah.
Because remember, we don't even know. So Jaylen Wright, again, running back for the Miami Dolphins here, who we've talked about before as someone that maybe was going to be the RB2 in that offense. But it's been an undisclosed lower leg injury. We just never even knew what it was. He had surgery just now?
He said he had a minor procedure. The goal is September-ish, is from Mike McDaniel. Expected to miss multiple weeks.
Yeah.
And they've signed JaMychal Hasty and Jeff Wilson to the practice squad.
I don't let either of those guys stray you from drafting Ollie Gordon then, right? I mean, where in your mind now is an appropriate range to be taking Ollie Gordon with news like this, who we were already kind of saying, hey, we got to switch gears here. It is Ollie Gordon, the RB2 in this backfield for a team that already has an injury, a calf injury to Achane. They said he's ready to go week 1, but you just never know. That can come up quickly. Where would you take him? What's appropriate?
So he went round 12 last night. First pick around 12, and I was gonna take him in the previous round, and I was like, maybe he'll make it back. Then I was like, nah, these guys are sharp. And I was right. He didn't make it back. But
I was right.
Yeah, he's probably in that 10 to 12 round range. I mean, again, there's a group of running backs that are all kind of either backup running backs or ambiguous backfields where we think they could play a role. He's kind of in that range at this point. He is a player that his stock has gone up. I know he's not that fast. People will point that out, 4.6, but he looked good in the preseason. It's not a typical Miami running back either, right? They like these speed guys too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it is a little deviation, but it looks like there's an opportunity. Now, if Achan's healthy, he's going to get the bulk of the touches. But, with that calf issue, now they did say Achan's going to be ready week 1. So that's encouraging. But yeah, I think Gordon certainly, I already had him ranked anyway. I'm not moving him up because I had already moved him up in my rankings pretty substantially. So if you used my rankings the last day or two, he's probably on your roster right now.
Probably. And you're right. Let's just say that we're saying to draft Ollie Gordon. He's not someone that you just plug and play week 1.
No, you can't.
Because Achan is, I mean, they say he's on track to play week 1. We have no reason to believe that he's not, because we have seen him out there and they said that the calf injury, they've said that the calf injury is good to go. But a calf injury for a running back like Achan, that's what we worry about, right? We say, okay, we have to watch this. So Ollie Gordon, when we say to target him in drafts now, he's an RB2 on an offense that, we still say, hey, we like the running backs. We might not like anyone else, but we do like the running backs here, just not someone that you can start right away. It would be an injury, but could happen. You don't want it to happen, but it could.
Yeah, and again, that range of where you're drafting, that's a bench guy anyway. So it's not like you're drafting him to start, unlike Krosky Merritt, where he's gotten to the point where people are relying on him to put in their lineup with the way he has gone up. And he has gone up too far. We're not going to see that with Gordon, but you never know. Like, people see news and they just like, oh, I got to get this guy.
No, it's true.
Be calm about it.
Be calm, be collected, but know that you might want him over there on your team. Let's go to the phone lines now, though. It took a little bit, but we're going out there, 888-963-2682, or again, press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. Let's start off with Mike in New Jersey. Mike, what do you got for us today?
How you doing, guys? I'm in a 12-team PPR. I got the 5th pick. I need a keeper answer. Jalen Hurts in the 6th, Chase Brown in the 7th, Brian Thomas Jr. in the 9th, or Bucky Irving in the 16th.
Oh, nice.
Jeez.
16th?
How many can he keep?
Wow. Yeah, wait, Mike, how many? Please don't say one. Oh, no.
And it's one quarterback league?
Oh, my
One
gosh.
quarterback. All the top 3 quarterbacks were already kept. So Hurts is the number 1 guy off the board.
Yeah, I'm not keeping him. I'm not keeping him.
Yeah, I figured it.
Ooh, yeah. This is a tough one.
I'm going crazy between Brian Thomas and Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
I love Chase Brown, too. I think he could be a league winner, that guy.
Is it not between BTJ and Bucky for you, Adam?
It is. It is.
Oh.
Let's go Bucky in the 16th. That's just
oh my gosh.
insane value.
Can you ask them to change the
ask for 3 keepers.
Say you have too many good guys. Is it Bucky in the 16th because of the value? I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, I do like Thomas a lot too at 9. It's close. Like, if he said that he leans Thomas, I wouldn't talk him out of it.
I like either of them.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, which is not a clear answer, but I understand.
But
Bucky
to get
an
RB1 in the final rounds,
yeah, I'm with you there. All right, appreciate you, Mike, and we're obviously jealous of that one. So good luck over there. Let's go out to Al in Long Island. Al, what do you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm in a 16-team league, so it's pretty scarce out there. Depending on sleepers, I've been doing my research. 2 players that I came down to that seem similar. Obviously, one comes from a no-name school. Is Efton Chisholm or Jack Betch. Both have question mark quarterbacks, but similar skills. I have more hopes for Chisholm, doing that Edelman, Amendola kind of thing that everybody talks about, but I'm kind of stuck. I don't have much information besides highlight films and what I've read.
Yeah, Efton Chisholm. That's a good one here, Al. Al is like reaching deep into the pockets of, he didn't even make the waiver wire list, but I will say, for anyone that doesn't know Efton Chisholm, Patriots is where we're looking for Efton Chisholm. We've talked about Jack Betch a little bit here, Adam. So that's why I lean a little bit more for Jack Besh just because again, he's probably known by a lot more people, so that makes it a little bit more different. But I think Efton Chisholm, when we talk about guys that have a little bit of a struggle to get into active playing time. Not that Jack Bash isn't the same here for the Las Vegas Raiders. We've talked about Dante Thornton here a little bit more. But I do go Bash early in this. Would you go Chisholm at all?
Yeah, no, I think Chisholm's a guy to keep on the radar. So I haven't seen him drafted. Again, I play in a lot of deep formats. Besh goes. He went around 17 in my draft last night. We talked with Lawrence Jackson in the first hour, and it does look like Thornton has kind of passed him. And, you have other receivers in front of him. But yeah, Chisholm is a guy I have not seen drafted in many leagues, and he's still kind of under the radar more. So probably Besh for now.
Yeah, Besh for now. But again, a good name to know. I mean, for this Patriots team, if Drake May steps up, could be one of those guys that he was. I saw all the articles yesterday about how excited he was to make the Patriots roster. It's a big deal. But Al, we'll go with Jack Besh for the time being. Let's go out to one more here. Let's go out to Zach in Florida. Zach, what do you got for us?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Good morning. I have a keeper league question. So I already have my 3 keepers. I've got Amon-Ra in the 2nd round, Bucky Irving in the 4th, and Chase Brown in the 10th. But I also have the 3rd overall pick. And it looks like I'm going to be – hopefully I can get CeeDee Lamb to pair with Amon-Ra, but otherwise I might be looking at either Ashton Genty or Puka Nacua, who are the next 2 highest-rated players I have. What do you think about that situation?
What other receivers are there?
The next one, let's see, there is Drake London, A.J. Brown. Those are kind of the next ones up.
All right, so
the other ones are taken.
So
a lot of receivers have already been kept.
Yeah, so CeeDee Lamb obviously would be number 1. I mean, if Genty's there, you're probably you'd have 3 running backs, but you'd have 3 stud running backs. How many receivers do you start? 2 or 3?
It's 2 receiver and there's 2 flex spots too.
Okay, so I think that
bad.
makes it. Yeah, I think you can take Genty then. If not, I would take Drake London over Puka Nacua. I think it's close, but if you're worried about Stafford's back issue, like Drake London, we saw it was like 38 targets in 3 games last year with Penix. So he's going to get targeted a lot. So if you're worried about Puka, I have drafted Puka, but usually after those guys. So I think you're in a good spot either way. So if you want to go Genty, usually I wouldn't want to start my draft with 3 running backs and a receiver. But if you're only starting 2 and you got the 2 flex, yeah, I think you can do that. But CeeDee Lamb obviously would be the first one if he's there, but he could be gone. So I understand why you're asking the question.
Appreciate you calling in here, Zach. We got questions from Zach, Al, and Mike, so appreciate you guys calling in today. We're going to leave that phone line open for you guys in case you have more questions throughout the show. Again, fantasylife.com. That's where you want to go and sign up for the newsletter. Use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off any Tier 1 or Tier 2 Fantasy Life Plus subscription. We're going through Cloaked Identity here, Adam, and you were annoyingly good at this game last week or a couple weeks ago. You got 2 guys out of 3, but I'm going to go through a guy we don't know his identity, going to give you some clues, see if you can guess them, and then break down what our expectations are for them in fantasy football for the upcoming season. We're going to do that coming up next. Mike's Hard Lemonade is partnering with Matthew Berry and Fantasy Life to give away weekly prizes all season long, including a trip to this year's big game. Prizes include Fantasy Life Plus subscriptions, gift cards to New Era, Homage, and Knockaround, TVs, soundbars, and 2 tickets to the big game. And not only have Fantasy Life and Mike's Hard partnered for the sweepstakes, but we've also collaborated on a new 12-pack of exclusive flavors, including Hard Pink Pick 6, Hard Pineapple Rush, Hard Berry Blitz, and Hard Apple Tackle, excuse me. Go to www.mikeshard.com/sweepstakes/fantasylife today and enter the sweepstakes and go find the Mike's Hard Fantasy Life 12-pack at a store near you. 21 plus only, premium malt beverage, Mike's Hard Lemonade Co., Chicago, Illinois. No purchase necessary to enter sweepstakes. See official rules at mikeshard.com/sweepstakes/fantasylife. Now it's time for Cloaked Identity, presented to you by Cloaked, your all-in-one solution for privacy, safety, and security. So in this one, Adam, People might remember this, but they might not because you were good at it last week, so I made it harder this week. But I'm going to give you 3 players. I'm going to, cloak their identity, not allow you to know who they are. I'm going to give you the stats based on them, either in college. That is a hint. College stats or stats from last season. See if you can guess them and then break them down for our expectations for them going into the 2025 season. So let's go through the first guy here. I will say Cloaked Identity, again, presented by Cloaked, your all-in-one solution for privacy, safety, and security. This player led all of college football with 17 receiving touchdowns in 2023.
2023?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What else?
His 24 college touchdowns is tied for the 3rd most in LSU history with Justin Jefferson. No, 3rd most. Yeah, with Justin Jefferson. I'm not getting this wrong, I promise.
I hope not.
Could you imagine? Wait, let me look this one up. No, I'm kidding. So you got that one down? No, that was right. That was right. And then the last one.
Okay.
Last one if you want it. Last year after this player's bye week, in week 12, he was the wide receiver 2 in PPR fantasy points per game with 20.
It's got to be Brian Thomas Jr.
Stop. Gosh, are these too easy? Is that what happened? You're good at this game.
No, that one was
That was a good one.
I think that was average. I don't know what the producers
Okay,
think. They probably knew it too. You guys knew it too, right?
Maybe I need to give you like Chisholm or whatever and see if you can guess him.
Well, then I don't think that's going to help the listeners. They're like, what?
I don't know. Maybe I need to do that and kind of stump you. But Brian Thomas Jr., I was able to get him in the GST last weekend. Pumped about it, by the way.
At 12, right?
Yes,
yeah,
at the turn. Hey, listen, it's not my fault who you guys let fall to me, but I love Brian Thomas Jr. this season. We talked about him last year. Obviously, he had a huge year. He now has, Evan Ingram's gone. You've got Christian Kirk gone. I just think Brian Thomas Jr. is good enough to go in the first round of drafts. He's a smash pick if he makes it to you in the second round. And I'm excited to see what he does again this season because we've talked about potentially Trevor Lawrence stepping up. We really need to see that from him as his quarterback, but he was undoubtedly someone that helped you win leagues last year.
Yeah, I am also interested in taking him, that late first round. If you get him at 12, that's really good. We do see him fall to the early second round at times. So yeah, last night he went 2-1. So like you, team on the turn took him. I think that's a really good spot. I'm not worried about Travis Hunter cutting in to his targets. I think he's still the number 1 guy there. And we saw, he did it with Mac Jones last year. He also had that chest injury that limited him a little bit, played through it, and then finished strong. And if you believe in Liam Cohen getting this offense to another level and Trevor Lawrence becoming more consistent, then yeah, Brian Thomas is going to benefit from it. So yeah, I'm in on Thomas this year too.
Let's go through another Cloaked Identity here, presented by Cloaked, your all-in-one solution for privacy, safety, and security. This is a rookie. I'm just going to give you that right now. I think you would have already known that, but just in case. This player credits his ability to catch 50-50 balls to his background of playing volleyball for his Anaheim, California school. Okay, I see a puzzled look on your face. Last year, this player set a school record with 304 receiving yards in a single year.
In a single year?
In a single year. In a single game, I'm sorry.
That's what I meant. I was
sorry.
What the hell?
I'm trying to
what
get
kind of record
this.
is that?
You're like, I could do that. Sorry, in a single game. And then I'm looking at among all college receivers since 2023, this player led the nation in contested catches at 35 and explosive receptions at 70.
Okay, it's got to be Tedero and McMillan,
God, you're
right?
annoying. What is this game? Yes, good job.
I mean, 6'4", he's big size, and I think I do remember him having 300 yards last year.
Maybe I should have just left you with the 50-50 to his background of playing volleyball in Anaheim. Maybe I should have left
I didn't know that. He played wow.
Fun fact. Tedero McMillan. Let's get into him because again, we've talked about him throughout the season. He's one of my favorite guys that I've been drafting. Got a little bit more expensive though in these last couple of weeks where I have been a little bit more priced out of him, but I just really like Teteroa McMillan in this offense. For me, he's been a priority target based on his ADP and where he was going in drafts. We've talked about Bryce Young and the expectations that we have for him, but this is a big bodied receiver if you haven't seen Teteroa McMillan. And so when I look at him and what he could do in this offense, we know that he's going to be, one, peppered with targets, and two, I just think you look at draft capital, there's a reason that they brought him in. Bryce Young needed more help in the receiver room, and he's going to be that guy. So between the targets and just his pure athleticism, yeah, I've been really happy to get him in drafts.
Me too, and especially on some platforms, he is lower, especially
Yeah.
ESPN, which we bring up a lot. If I remember correctly, he was in the 80s or 90s. Again, the article's on Fantasy Life, so you can check that out. But yeah, he is someone that I've drafted too. I took him in a couple leagues. He is getting more expensive. I have seen in some high stakes leagues he goes in the third round, usually
Yeah.
early fourth. So there's some excitement for him now. He's that big X receiver that was missing for Bryce Young. So I also am very optimistic on him, and I'm at least glad that I have him in a couple leagues because it is getting more expensive to acquire him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've loved drafting him. Again, if you're drafting on ESPN, send us your screenshots because we're going to be jealous. But he's
Yeah.
going, he's going to. I have two on Monday.
Wow,
I'll
you're
let you in on
lucky.
them.
I
I
have
know.
none.
I want to make sure
I should
because
have put my home league on there.
exactly. I was like, we can't talk about ESPN like this all off season and not have at least one. So I listen, the projections for us right now have him at 128 targets and 82 receptions. But if you look at the X best, which is presented by Xfinity there, when we look at the floor and best projections that he could have, just like his ceiling, 170 targets in that offense and 97 receptions. That would be amazing. I would love that. I think it's
Yes.
somewhere in between.
Yeah, everyone would be happy if they got that, but
No kidding.
the targets are definitely going to be there. He's going to lead this team in targets. No one had a target share of more than 15% on Carolina last year.
Because they had no one. It was so
Yes,
bad.
exactly.
It was so bad. It's just one that was the reason. Let's go through one more cloaked identity here. I almost said I almost said the player name. Never mind. I'm kind of not good at this whole like hosting a game show thing. Okay, cloaked identity. This player became an Eagle Scout when while in high school in his hometown of Cincinnati. Do you know your answer?
An
No, I'm kidding.
Eagle Scout?
An Eagle Scout. Although being famous, oh, this is easy. Hang on. Although famously being in a two-headed backfield, last season the player led his team in inside the 5 rush attempts at 55%. You want one
Uh,
more? I'll give you one more. From weeks 1 to 6, this player led his team's running back room with 18.1 PPR fantasy points per game. His ESPN ADP is in the 6th round this season.
okay, so it's not who I thought it was then. He
Who do you
can't be
think
in
it
the
was?
James Cook?
No, no. But
Yeah,
yeah.
so
You have
he's
another guess?
sixth round. It's not a rookie, right?
No, 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 not a rookie.
Sixth round. Tony Pollard?
Do. No, David Montgomery.
Oh,
Your
damn.
guy. I was going to say you already said his name today earlier because you drafted him because you love David Montgomery. That is
Uh,
sarcasm, folks. He does not like David Montgomery this season. Hey, listen, there's good reason. I mean, you've got a new offensive coordinator coming in here, and they could just say, you know what are we doing? We have Jahmyr Gibbs, so a role for him could diminish quite quickly in this offense this year. I get it.
well, yeah, and also if the offense takes a step back, I still think they're going to be good. The other look could be wrong. Everyone, what if I don't want to say it,
Don't
but
go ahead.
what happens if something happens to Gibbs? Now Montgomery has this backfield to himself. He does have 25 touchdowns the last 2 years. It's insane. And he had 36 receptions last year in 14 games. He had 36 catches on 38 targets. It's not that Montgomery isn't good. It's just that when you look at this, Gibbs is just so much better and just explosive. It does
But
a
we've known
lot with a
that.
little. So you would think like if you're running the offense, you would say, all right, we enough of this 50-50. We need to make this 65-35 or 70-30 in favor of Gibbs. So that's the only thing. And if that does happen and we see less Montgomery, then the floor is going to be lower. And what happens those games where he doesn't score a touchdown? The crazy part about Montgomery is, so he scored a touchdown in every game he played last year except 4. And if I'm not mistaken, the last game, so I'll say 3 because the last game he got played, I don't remember when he got hurt against Buffalo. I'm assuming it's early in the game because he had 5 carries for 4 yards. So I'm guessing it was early in the game. That was also a blowout, though, where they were playing from, not a blowout, but they were down big and they just went pass heavy because Goff had 494 and 59 pass attempts. So I don't remember if he got hurt in that game. I'm assuming he did. So if that's the case and we take that game out, he scored a touchdown in every game except 3.
Yep.
So is that repeatable? I'm going to say no.
Well, especially if you think that the Lions take a step back, right?
Well, I don't think they're going to take a step back. I know the people are worried about the change in offensive coordinator, but you have to hope that Morton comes in there and says, yeah, it's working pretty well. I'm not going to change anything drastically. And there's just so much talent in this offense too. But we did see Jared Goff wasn't good before Ben Johnson came in there.
I've taken Montgomery, and I know that to some people, I've taken him when he's fallen because I've said to myself, look, I get it. His role, I mean, they could just cut it down at any time, and they could say we're going with Jahmyr Gibbs because that is the obvious answer there. Montgomery has 14.8, 15.7 points per game in 2 seasons in Detroit. He isn't a super explosive runner. He only has 1 good season as a pass catcher when we look at it, and that was last season, like you said. So I get it, but sometimes he falls, and I just say to myself, what if that doesn't happen, right? Like I know there's a lot of what ifs, and that is a what if situation. And he got injured last season, so I understand. But we know Jahmyr Gibbs is the better back. We've always known that. So again, yes, we could see his role go down a little bit, but to me, until we see it, I'm taking him when he falls, and I'm comfortable. I'm okay with it. I know you didn't like it last night, though. You weren't happy with it.
No, it did not feel good.
What running back was he for you? Your
RB2. That's why. Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
So I went heavy wide receiver.
Well, oh yeah, okay. You're not gonna like David Montgomery when he's your second running back. You're right. If he's your third, are you better with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing? How many receivers did you take?
5 in the first 6 rounds.
You know, that will be a recipe to get you David Montgomery as your second running back.
So yeah, this was the
You're so
draft I
funny.
least liked of all the drafts I've done so far this year.
Okay, and it's all because of David Montgomery. That's fine. It's we can say it out loud. That was Cloaked Identity, though, presented by Cloaked. Again, they are your all-in-one solution for privacy, safety, and security. So protecting your identity, blocking spam, keeping you safe from those digital threats before they reach you. You know that we talk about data over here all the time. Dwayne has an obsession with it. We can talk about that with him later next week. But we don't like our data being exposed to data brokers from around the web. Cloaked has you covered. Get started with Cloaked's risk-free scan at cloaked.com/fantasy, courtesy of Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life, to see where your personal information is exposed, and then sign up with 20% off with code FANTASY. Again, you can get started with Cloak's risk-free scan at cloaked.com/fantasy. We're going to continue on here, Adam. It's no more Cloaked Identity. We're going to go through our favorite receivers. I want to make sure people know these. We'll continue to do these throughout the rest of the week, but early, mid-round, and late-round picks that we like for receivers, we're going to give you those names coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. We've got the best listeners. We know you guys are getting down to your drafts this weekend and going into next week. So wanted to make sure, not necessarily a recap, Adam, but our favorite receivers, guys that maybe some people have missed. If you're not listening to us every day, that's okay. But I wanted to go through our favorite early round, mid round, late round picks when we look at our favorite receivers. If I asked you your favorite early receiver that you've been taking in drafts, who would that be for you? Actually, I'm actually now curious.
Well, I mean, obviously like a lot of the top 8,
Yeah.
but I feel like I think I have a lot of CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, and Dak, little Dak.
I haven't gotten Dak lately, but yeah, he's been going earlier. He was a value
he is.
in early drafts. He started to move up. In fact, he went round 8 last night. He was the 7th quarterback off the board.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Jeez.
and that team did not have any Cowboys, so it was not a stack. So I guess they just felt Dak was
I
the
just liked him.
best option there. So, but yeah, look, CD, it depends where you pick. I like Malik Neighbors a lot. I took him last night. Brian Thomas, like all those top guys,
Of
because
course.
you know that they're gonna get a huge target share, and then that's why they're so valuable. So any one of those guys in the first round, I'm cool with.
I like Nico. Nico Collins was the one that I thought of the faster, like the quickest, because he's a tier 1. When you look at Nico Collins, he like checks every box. You got his underlying data that is just out of this world. And so to me, sometimes when I see him go at the turn, I'm like, I just don't believe that he should be going there. So if you, depending on where you play, you can definitely get him at the turn. I was able to do that in our GST league. But again, I think he's a talent that is going a little bit too late for me. He's a high priority pick, especially when we talk about the running backs. If we don't think that they're going to get anything out of their running backs, and we say to ourselves, well, that means, CJ Stroud, they need more from him. It's going to be Nico Collins over there. I like him
So
a lot.
he went as the 4th receiver off the board in my draft
Good.
last night at pick 8.
I like
So
that.
I've always liked Nico Collins. I take him every year. The first couple of seasons were a major disappointment. That's when everyone bailed, and I still was able to get him in that 2023 breakout. That's when he was cheap. The only risk with him is he misses time due to injuries. He missed 5 games last year, 2, 6 or 7. So he's always missing time. But with CJ Stroud, he is averaging 5.5 catches, 85.3 yards per game, and 0.55 touchdowns per game with Stroud. So they have that connection. And yeah, if he could stay healthy the entire year, like even give us 16 games, those stats can look pretty good.
He's given us 17.2, 17.8 points per game over the last two seasons. Like I said, he checks all the boxes when we look at wide receiver 1 marks and what they need to be. So I think he's an alpha receiver. He's one of my favorite early round guys. But like you said, in that range, you've got a lot of good receivers in that first round. Let's talk through mid-tier receivers that we like here coming up next. Adam, finishing off some of our wide receiver conversations here. We went through some of our favorite early round draft picks when we look at receivers mid-round. Who are some of your favorite guys? I know one, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, and he's mispriced on a lot of sites, but in really sharp leagues, he goes earlier. I do have a lot, so if he flops, I will be sad this year. So the offense,
he's a better quarterback. So.
Yeah, the quarterback play is going to get better. He was near the top in air yards last season, and look the end zone targets. He had 25 2 years ago. He had 4 last year. So. Yeah. 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons, going to lead the team in targets. So yeah, he's a good pick.
I've gone over to I looked, and it's only been recent development, but Matthew Golden I've taken in a good amount of drafts. And I don't know, well, I do know what changed. It was the walking boot for Jaden Reed. And I know that a lot of people have said that they just don't want anything to do with this Packers team because they spread the ball around, and I get that. But I think there is something with Matthew Golden to them drafting him when they did. Their first round draft pick for a wide receiver since 2002, I think is the stat. And so the Packers are invested and they want him to succeed. So I think the path to an obvious full-time role is right out of the beginning. And I think Green Bay looks at his talent and they say, hey, we needed this guy. So I've actually, especially over the last couple of weeks, have taken a lot of Matthew Golden. I need that to work out.
Yeah, he is rising up draft boards too. I think people are starting to see that. And again, with this Jaden Reed situation where I guess he's dealing with somewhat of like a Jones fracture is what they're saying.
Oh, that's not good.
So he didn't want to discuss the specifics of the injury, but he did say he's still having some pain running routes. So it's not good here. So we'll see. I mean, he said he's good to go and he's going to play and manage it and try and, fight his way through it. But
week 1.
That's what they're saying. But I'm worried about this. So, they're starting to come out yesterday.
Interesting.
And, so they're saying he's dealing with a Jones fracture in his left foot. Like, I'm not sure how you play through that. But
yeah, or how you don't make it worse.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Because the only way to get better is rest.
By not playing. That's not good. I think one of our other favorite, and I think maybe America's favorite pick right now is Ricky Pearsall. Just with the news with Jauan Jennings, but he's again someone that was going later in drafts, averaged 8.5 points per game last season. But we all remember he was recovering from the gunshot wound. Underlying data wasn't necessarily better, but when he did flash in that full-time role, it was over the last last 2 games of the season. And he finished with 23.8 points per game, 22% target share. And they've got no one else, Adam. What are we doing? They're so injured. Ricky Pearsall should have a role immediately, and a pretty big one at that.
Yeah, they were hiring him. They drafted him late first round. He had all the circumstances last year, getting shot before the season, the injuries. Looked good in his last 2 games to finish the year, and there's just going to be plenty of opportunity here because they are so thin. So I have him a lot in early drafts. The price is definitely going up. He went 5.9 in my league last night. So yeah, and those wide receiver heavy leagues, he's going to go early.
Anyone that we forgot, mid-round, late round, you want to mention? You good? Christian Kirk? You got a lot of Christian Kirk.
Yeah, Christian Kirk, because early in the year, he's going to be in there 2 wide sets. He's going to play the slot too, and the rookies might take some time to develop. So, that's a good guy to get. If you draft Rice, Christian Kirk's a nice fill-in while Rice is out.
And if you're really rookie heavy, get a veteran presence in there. You might have to wait for some of those rookies. So a veteran like Christian Kirk for the first few games of the season, you know what he can bring you. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us today. We're going to be back same time tomorrow. Make sure you use that code SXM20. We'll see you then.